And welcome to the stream. We are on air. It's May 2020, and it's time for a little bit of Q&A, a little bit of talk about events that take place in May or here in Finland. And if you can take a look at behind me, you will see empty shitty shelves. And the reason is this room is going to get renovated starting in June, which means I need to empty everything, literally everything here that is either on the walls or on the floor. Things are going to get emptied, and I've already started the process, even though the renovation starts only in 3 weeks. But yeah, these CD towers will move temporarily out of the place here. All my personal, CDs are already boxed in and they will be taken away for a few weeks. But things should be getting back to normal later in June. And obviously, I'm working my ass off to get those videos prepared for my absence. That is, I'm already like 2 weeks ahead of time with May videos, and I will try to make sure that there were videos worth 3 weeks or so done by the end of the month, so that you will have your daily dose or videos of Rauta content while I'm not exactly here. Um, Still, I am trying to do Rauta's monthly video of June, but it might not be happening on the first or second week of June because I will be also traveling while the renovation takes place. I mean, I'm not working here, and I'll try to avoid coming anywhere near because it's not like my computer is here or none of these items. So there will be that. But welcome to the stream, and if you have questions to be asked, well, please do so. I will be here at least one full hour, as the basic idea is with these streams, and I'll try to answer your questions. Now, as the official part of the stream always goes, I'm gonna have something to drink because streams without no drinks are kind of a drag. This time, well, we'll be going to with Lafroig 4 Oak Ale single malt whiskey, one of my favorite brands of all time. So here, let's give this glass a little bit of filling. Will this do enough? Let's make it double. Real James Bond style. There is no other particular topic of today for the stream, that is, apart from these two events I'm going to talk about. Obviously, Steelfest 2022, and also the Rauta Club Volume 4, which takes place roughly a week after the Steelfest, that is, roughly in 2 weeks. Hello, Samsa. Bonjour. I don't know if you can say bonjour anymore because I know it's evening time in France as well. It was nice to see you at Inferno. So nice to have you here. Hello, Belsat. Good kväll. And that is good evening to people outside Sweden. Hello, Spencer Gray. Pretty okay, thank you for asking, even if my lower back busted me today when I was supposed to do some deadlifts. So, also my movie night with my pals got canceled because our host actually, it seems, have gotten a COVID. So, could have been a lot better Saturday, to be honest, but things are what they are and can always help them. And hello, Jarro Lamp. Yeah, Jameson Irish whiskey is pretty good for budget whiskey, but nowhere near in terms of quality. Spencer Gracie is already asking, am I a fan of Old Nick? No, actually, I've been seeing that name bouncing back and forth past couple of years or so, but never actually got to listen to it. So, cannot really comment about it. And new Satanic War Master track, I didn't even check out which track got out. It was already last year when I heard the Roar version, like this, without vocals and all. A few tracks of new Satanic War Master. and sounded pretty solid. But obviously, without vocals, it's not the same. But I kind of avoid listening to individual tracks. Pretty much the only exceptions are the ones where there are music videos, like when new Rammstein video came out, the title track Zeit, a couple of months ago. I obviously watched that because I love their videos. I watched another Rammstein video, Zigzag, for obvious reason. But apart from that, I really couldn't care less about single songs, so I kind of steer away from them. I let other people get hyped of singles. I focus on full releases. There's no exactly particular policy about that, or there is no principles about that. But just I feel like watching or listening to a single song when there is no video. It's just like having a taste of a pizza, not even a full slice, really. So it just kind of annoys me. So I kind of rather wait for a full release than get myself a little bit teased in that ways. I also kind of dislike movie trailers nowadays. So I kind of wait for the full deal, because I mean, there always good music waiting for the time to listen to it. So I can just pretty much ignore those hit songs. Belstad, yeah, I have a good news for you. Actually, yesterday I had a call with Satanakia about the interview with Azazel taking place at Steelfest. So yes, Azazel interview is finally happening after more than 3 years of planning, so to say. Yes, Samza. I think I got it like regarde les hommes tombés. That is how far I got with the pronunciation with the band name we were talking about at Inferno. XD Boom Boom is asking any plans for an Inquisition interview at Steelfest. I can also say Inquisition interview has also been agreed to do. I think it was for Saturday. Now I know these dates don't exactly matter to you, but if I get to do a little bit of quick, maybe not streams, but some teasers in the form of photos. Maybe I will post you photos once I've done those interviews. So let's see how it goes. But Azazel, Inquisition, and a few more are already agreed to be done. Gyro, I must say the oldest whiskey I currently have is probably only 12 years old. Now the thing is, the price goes really, really quickly up by more time you have. I mean, the older the whiskey, the price kind of skyrockets. Usually, the kind of a sweet point for me is around 10, 15 years of age for whiskey, because once you start, buying, say, 20 years old whiskey compared to, say, 10 years old, the price is so much higher. I once had a whiskey which I think was 50 years old, and it was so goddamn good, like one of the best alcoholic drinks ever. But it was so super expensive, also. So usually the sweet point, or sweet spot, is around 10, 12 years roughly. I mean, if it's a lot younger, it won't taste that good, and if it's a lot older, it will cost like crazy. So that's why those ages with whiskey. Hello, Helvis. How are you doing in Poland? I haven't heard about the new Grand Belial ski. The thing here is, I mostly focus on the albums that I get here for review for obvious reasons. People spend money and time to send those. And the rest of the time, I pretty much listen to those digital promos I also get sent, so I know which one to request for review. And that's why I probably miss a lot of albums which don't go here in any kind of promotional ways. Obviously, I'd listen to some music apart from that, but usually it's then related to those worst best videos and other content on the channel. So I always obviously miss a lot of music, which I guess applies to everybody. I mean, most of the albums I review, most people are like, I have never even heard the band. I'm not going to start listening to it right now. But sometimes reviews make a point. But yeah, there's always so much music going on that, it's easy to just miss some of them. And I agree, Nadred. If the whiskey is not old enough, don't touch it. Uh, Hello, Voltman. Nice to have you here as well. Yes, Gerald, that thing what you said about movie trailers giving away all the good scenes and the rest is shite is one of the reasons why I don't want to do movie trailers these days. I mean, I rather see everything, during the first go of the movie. I don't want to be spoiled about details, this and that. They just kind of built a hype, which the movies are not so easy to respond in a good way. That is, once there is this hype, you start building your expectations, and the more likely you kind of get disappointed. So that's why I kind of avoid single songs, and I kind of want to avoid movie trailers too. Yes, Waldman, I know Merciless, and I remember actually it's supposed to be quite good, but haven't heard it in years and years. So can't really say I have fresh memories of that, but I remember Merciless being quite good. Um, Belson is asking, have I met Onilar of Bethlehem and Darkened Nocturne Slaughter Cult, or whatever it's called? And well, I've seen only her play on stage. Never got to meet her in person. But yeah, it would be definitely be interesting one to interview her or her bands one day. Let's see. But yeah, she's a phenomenal artist in so many ways. Samsa is asking when we can expect to the first interview from Inferno Festival. Well, the thing here is, thanks to our Patreon supporters, which made that Inferno trip possible, I will be talking more about that in tomorrow's video. The first interview already got out for the Patreon supports who have 1 week or lead time in all the content which I've done with the interviews. So Belzer interview is already out for the supporters, and the rest of you will have to wait 1 week more for that, and that will apply to all the interviews happening. So you will get like the interviews 1 week later than those who support us monetary wise, because it's like my way to thank the people who have actually making those interviews possible. Can't emphasize it too much, but I have to say it once again, without the Patreon supporters, this Inferno trip would not have been happening. Not so much because of myself. I mean, I can pretty much secure myself a plane ticket and a hotel. Obviously everything costs, but it was more about the whole crew, me including the my camera crew, 2 people. So that Patreon money people have been donating to us. Thank you so much. That made the whole trip possible. So everybody who is into those Inferno Festival interviews can say your thank yous to the Patreon supporters. So there's that. But I hope that I will get those interviews out like once a week, but at least bi-weekly. That's the usual deal. But it depends on my editor. I know that she already finished Belzer interview a few days ago, and now she has Cadaver and Asphyx interviews in works. So they will be the next steps, and from that we will progress with more interviews. Come out as well. Oh, hello, Ivis. Nice to hear that you managed to do both the gig and the stream. So you have nitrate, you have beer. Well, congratulations. That's the way to do. Prepare for the stream by having some drinks. Obviously, I'm not saying that people should be alcoholics. No way, and no all that. But we all know it's like a stream without some kind of a drink is like watching a movie without snacks. You can do it, but it's more fun if you have something to drink, something to eat. And hello, Dragonian. Nice to have that you have mead. Mead is always a good, solid drink. Um, I don't think I am getting the upcoming album of Kamer. I don't know how to say it, but if that album should come this way, I will definitely review it. And thank you, Dragonian. Everything is here is pretty okay, even though my lower back is a little busted. But yeah, things are, other than that, quite okay. Oh, yeah, thanks, Belsta. This is actually a promotional long sleeve shirt which I got through my work years and years ago. Never actually played the game, but yeah, I kind of like the shirt anyway because, hey, I'm a gamer, so why the hell not? Hello, Alex. Nice to have you. How are you? How is Ireland? How are you doing, man? Oh, Waldman. Nice to hear that you're friends with the Merciless guys. Interesting and good band for sure. And hello, Brian Mons. Nice to have you here on the stream as well. How is your country doing? Yes, Bellstead. Well, people who don't drink, I don't trust them. I mean, you have to drink a little bit in order to be a decent human being. All right. What the hell is going on? Is the stream, dying? What the hell is going on? Nothing should be happening, at least in my end. Oh, Naturally, was just saying, rest in peace, stream. Bremons is enjoying beautiful spring with some beers. Well, that's a good thing to have. Oh, thank you, Draconian. All right, all right. I got this request, so I will actually give a quick recap. I will link to you, but this is, however, partially in Finnish, partially in English. There will be this. I will translate it if you need, but I promised to my pals who are organizing this event with me. Well, I'm not exactly, organizing it, but as Rauta part of the deal here. So there will be this Metalli Helvetti who is doing Turku Saatanalla events. They're having Rauta Club of Volume 4 in a couple of weeks, with trash metal being the theme here, and it's called Trash All Night. The bands in questions are the Hirvi, translates to elk. There's Blood Ride and Sergeant Slime. All are pretty small names from Finland, but they both have been doing stuff quite some time. For example, I got to review that latest Blood Ride album, which came out last year, and it was actually pretty good. So solid band, supposedly going to play some trash metal. In case you happen to be going to that particular club event, Rauta Club Part 4, let me know and I will get you in with the free Rauta Pass. That is limited to 5 people maximum, but I doubt more than 5 people of this stream will be going there. But you need to kind of reach me in order to get your name for the club as part of the Rauta supporters. So there is that. Those Rauta clubs are happening every once in a while with rather smaller bands. I hope to expand it one day to a proper, bigger ass event. Festival would be a dream, but let's be honest about it. Organizing a fest takes a lot of money and all the time and shit like that. But never say never. let's see if that can be pulled off one day. So far, we're kind of practicing with these club events. So they're the ones happening right now every few months with Metalli Helvetti, the local promoter or organizer for these kind of events and gigs. What else? Reading your comments. Campfire stream this summer by Notorisk. Maybe. Now, obviously, the thing here is I don't do campfires by myself, but there is this possibility that things like that could be done. So I don't know. A nice idea for sure. I tried to do at least one or two outdoor streams during the next or coming summer, but I don't know yet when because I will be traveling early June. So I don't know when to do that stream and where, but I will be notifying you people about it. And let's do some kind of outdoor stream like there was one, was it like last July or August, where I was wandering around to local places and stuff like that. So let's see it. Um, what else? What else? Sorry, Netred, I missed. What is this country club thing going on? To be honest, no idea what's happened with Game of Hypothermia and Life Lover. They played here a few years ago, and back then it was seemingly good, but those days, I mean, it was like 6 years ago. Don't know what's going on. Um, Hello, Lobo Paul. Thank you so much for your words and support for Rauta. Thanks for your comments regarding reviews and interviews. Cheers. Nice to have you here on the stream as well. How come Nature World is passing you by? Oh yeah, Brian Muncie. Yeah, I'm planning to do outdoor streams. Could be fun to just, I don't know, drive somewhere and do it totally in some different place. I don't know when, where, and all that stuff. But let's see. That could be a nice idea to do. That means obviously I can take any beers if I'm driving, but and again, who gives a damn? Hello, Serbia. How are you doing, man? Yeah, I showed the ponies last year, so this time we could do something else, I guess. Um, nice World Band. Yeah, Mayhem is always solid live. Hello, David from Colombia. Next week you have Emperor. Well, enjoy Emperor. They have I hope they will be playing older songs right there. And Alex's next metal geek is Emwa. Well, they are damn good. One of my favorite bands. Probably my favorite from Poland anyway. Well, along with Graveland and all. What's going on with the Telox channel, Belstad? Any idea? Thanks, Alex. Well, we'll do more outdoor streaming, that's for sure. Now it's actually pretty cold and it's quite of a dark. So if I have to do an outdoor stream, it would have to be, a little bit earlier hours than now. For example, now that it's past midnight, it's all dark out there. So it probably would have to be either very early hours in the morning, like say 3 4 a.m., or then it would have to be evening hours before it actually gets dark. Now that we're living in early May, I think the sun is going down around 9ish, 9:30, something like that. So I can't really do it in a time zone where it would be very suitable for American people. Like if I would do it like say 8:30 in the evening here local time, it would be very early for people in the United States. So there is that side of streaming during daytime here because it would be, just nighttime for American people. Yes, Alex, heppa means like horsey, not horse, but horsey. Hello, hijo del sol negro, son of the dark sun. I guess that's how it translated. Welcome to the stream once again. Will I be reviewing new Graf Vitnir release? I don't know. Depends if it arrives here. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Bellstat, it's kind of weird if you get hacked. I mean, it's so easy to just do this kind of a two-step verification in order to not get hacked. So should not be happening. Naturally, it's not too cold here actually, but it's not warm either. Sometimes during these early May, the weeks and days are actually quite warm. You can pretty much go out with t-shirt on, but this spring has been particularly cold. That is, you don't really wear shorts and t-shirts when you go out. I think this will be the coldest Steelfest for me like ever. I'm assuming it's gonna be like a couple of shirts and a hoodie kind of a weather next week when Steelfest takes place. So we'll see how it goes. Also, thumbs up. That sounds like a nice thing with Talk and Comfort. Comfort was actually my favorite band at Inferno. I will be talking once again in more detail in tomorrow's video. But yeah, it was really, really great show. Too bad Comfort guy wasn't ready for interview this time, but he seemed like he could do that later on. Not really. It's not sure if Finland will be joining NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, but it seems more and more likely these days. Hello, Philip from Vienna. Nice to have you here. Thank you so much for your words regarding reviews and stuff. And you pretty much listed good bands there. Oh, Veikka Roponen is asking what have been my favorite live gigs I've attended. For Veikka, it seems bands like Suffocation, Cannibal Corpse, and Behemoth. Now, those are all great live bands for sure. But I must say, my favorite live ones, and you would understand. I mean, by you, I mean you all would be understand what I mean if I say Rammstein gigs have been my favorite because they are so much more than just a gig. It's a whole spectacle of different levels. But beyond that, there have been plenty of good gigs, be it metal or otherwise. Some of my kind of a favorite gigs have been, dark ambient ones. But also being a big Slayer fan and Metallica fan. I mean, I grew up with Metallica and all that stuff in the 80s. Obviously, those big ass Metallica and Slayer concerts have been among my favorite ones because, for the reason. Also, some of the most memorable ones, and in those terms, also favorite ones, would be those Pink Floyd cover bands, which were kind of a blessed officially by Pink Floyd, having the visuals and all that side on top of it. Once again, being way more than just a gig. They would have been among my favorite ones. So it doesn't really matter if it's metal or not. It matters if the whole thing is right there. So plenty of good shows, but I think Rammstein ones would be my all-time favorites for the reasons I mentioned. There's so much more than just a bunch of people playing music. And I must admit, seeing that kind of a special 30 minutes or so Dog Throne gig as a part of Satyricon show, this was in Wacken, let me see, was it 2004? I think it was a fucking blast hearing Dark Throne live. I know it was only half a Dark Throne, given that it was Nocturnal Culto doing the vocals, and Fenris wasn't part of the deal, and the rest of the guys were Satyricon guys. But damn, those 30 minutes or so with Dark Throne, my all-time favorite black metal band, seeing them on stage, that must be one of the favorite live events I've ever seen or taken part of. Once again, I'm trying to answer your question. Angelo Leon is asking, metal music, what's happening at the moment around your way? Well, lots of review requests, getting more requests nowadays than ever. That means I'm constantly being bombarded with lots of review albums, which mean I kind of have to skip a lot of music that I would otherwise might have the time to listen to. It also seems, and this will be a more detailed talked through in another video, but it seems a lot of bands are now touring, a lot of fests are now happening, and it seems suddenly like we're living this kind of a post-COVID. I'm using quotation marks because, for example, today I heard one of my good friends got COVID for the second time during 1 year. So it's not like COVID has gone anywhere, but we see world more open now, and that means more events and gigs are taking place. So it seems like suddenly we're actually getting back to normal, like what it was before COVID. So there are lots of events, lots of gigs, and lots of festivals happening, and lots of bands are indeed touring and making these gigs. But what worries me is that those ticket prices are also skyrocketing, which isn't exactly very ideal. I mean, you have a lot of gigs and events that you could go to, but at the same time, the prices are going up. And we all know that's not very possible situation on the long run. So at first, I'm guessing here. At first, it seems like because people are so desperate to get into those gigs and fests, I think a lot of bands are like, okay, give me your money, we're gonna play the show. And people are desperate, like, yeah, take my money, we're gonna see your show. But once people realize there will be so many events taking place and they cannot afford everything, they will be picking their favorite ones. I think the prices will come down because there will be more competition. Because it's not possible that prices will be going up and up and up, while at the same time people will be bringing more bands to kind of compete with each other, with these fests and gigs. So it's not exactly the most sustainable thing what we can have. But for the time being, I think the early birds, the bands that are now touring versus the ones that start doing that later on, they will be ones that will be reaping the best prizes, the best money out of those events. But we'll see how it goes. We don't know if new COVID wave or whatever will take place and all that shit, because we really can't predict that. But it seems we're not going to that direction. So I guess there will be lots of events and fests and gigs and whatever to attend to, and then there will be plenty of good live music once again for people. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Philip Luth here asked an interesting question. Why did Scandinavia develop such a strong metal scene since the late 80s and early 90s? Now, I think one of the reasons is that, Scandinavian countries, or Nordic countries, as it's usually better to say, because it includes Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Finland, is that we kind of have to endure the Nordic darkness and cold. So instead of going to the beach, play volleyball or beach volley, whatever, or instead going to check out sexy babes on the beach, or getting shirtless, getting ready to swim and all that stuff. We have to endure those cold months. We have to kind of entertain us with our kind of art and entertainment, and that means creating a lot of music. So I guess in more sunny countries, where sun is shining and people are happily partying and dancing and shit like that, I think they're kind of a more happy bound. Whereas, which have only short, span of the kind of a warm, happy times. I mean, there's a reason why places like Florida, of all the places in the world, they have beaches and they have nightclubs and they have dancing parties and they have drugs and, well, sexy babes. Whereas Nordic countries are not exactly known for, like, yeah, let's go to the beach. Let's take a look at those bikini babes. We're known for, those people who drink, vodka and beer and make a lot of metal music. So I guess it kind of resonates with the climate, living up in north where darkness and cold takes place more than summer times. So we have to play the kind of a tunes that fit the mindset. That's only me guessing. I'm no anthropologist, so I don't know what's the deal really. But I think that's really what connects. So it's not. It cannot be just a coincidence. Why, for example, even if you move to Denmark from Sweden or Norway and Finland, it all gets a little bit warmer, and warmer it gets if you go more south. France and Germany, places like that. And the southern you go, the less the kind of a darker music you have. I mean, compare to sheer land size and population of France or Germany to places like Finland, Sweden, Norway, etc. And you can see the pattern here. So the southern you go, well, for Germany is a good example of this, and France, I think, as well. They have more happy tunes, bands that are more, and artists who are more inclined to kind of a party mentality. I mean, for example, Berlin, Germany in general, they're the kind of a techno people. And when we're talking about metal music in Germany, you have way more this kind of a happy pagans, these kind of weird folk metal bands with lots of flutes and shit like that. It's almost like, taking these bards and medieval bards doing metal. But when you go north, kind of gets darker, and it's not necessarily more pessimistic, but gets the kind of a darker mentality going on, and that's, I think, resonates with the sound. So to answer your question is, indeed, I think the climate of Nordic countries has a lot to do why we don't have the presence of happier, warmer places. You can even see this in North America, Canada versus southern states like Florida or Texas. You don't necessarily hear so many Texas-based bands doing really dark music, but when you go places to like Quebec in Canada, you will have those bands. You don't. I mean, it's kind of a funny though that Florida, of all the places, is one of those kind of a death metal states in the world, death metal countries, if you will. But when it comes to black metal and those darker tunes, usually it comes from rather Nordic places. And as such, I think that's the reason why people know, like in general, more Canadian black metal bands than, for instance, American black metal bands. Even though Canada is not exactly as big as a country as America. So I think these really resonate with the climate and mentality, and mentality is always connected to the climate and weather and the environment. So I think all those are connected, they're linked in a way. And I'm losing people on stream because I'm talking so much about these kind of topics. But yeah, I think that's my theory anyway. All right, I'm gonna move along with these comments. I'm gonna read them for a while and answer your questions. Notoriski is asking how the chickens in your farm are doing. We're not exactly a farm, but those chickens are doing nice, producing eggs, and I talk to them. I guess I'm kind of a crazy person, but you already know that because you're following the channel. I talk to animals. I talk to a lot to them. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? And then I'm petting those chickens and feeding with, today I gave them mashed potato. And for tomorrow, they will have leftover spaghetti. So it's like me giving them food and, like petting them and like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, everything is cool, lifting them up. Okay, there are no eggs. Oh, why you be so angry? Don't be so angry, motherfucker. I talk to dogs, and when we had cats, I obviously talk to the cats. I talk to ponies when they are here. They're not here anyway, but yeah. So chickens are doing fine, and I love animals in general. Animals are not so douchebags as a lot of people are. Um, Belstad mentioned that some people seem to hate Hurst or Hurst from Tolkien. Is it true? I don't know. I met Hurst at Inferno Fest, and he remembered me from the 2019 interview we had, and we had more friendly talk at there. And I think he's a really, really friendly and cool dude. I can totally vouch for him. I never sensed any kind of a hate towards Tolkien. Now, the only thing is, which I already mentioned in my talk interview and the talk video in like 2018, I did, is that, Tolkien got some shit because of old stuff happened, and people tried to cancel whole talk, and that kind of a talk U.S. Tour got canceled. But I don't know why would people would in general, black metal people anyway, France or otherwise, would hate or dislike Hust or Tolkien. And actually, he was performing with Gorgoroth, doing great live. He played two shows, Gorgoroth and Tolkien. And Tuca will be taking place in Steelfest as well. So I hope to have some drinks with that dude. He's a good guy in my books, definitely. And I'm not saying because I did the interview with him, but because I spent some time, off the record, off the camera, so to say. So yeah, I can say it. He's a nice and cool, polite dude. Hello, Eric. My Wappu was really basic. I was actually watching a movie, so nothing special happened here during Wappu, which is, by the way, 1st of May for people who don't know. It's celebrated as a bank holiday, drinking in Finland in general. Yeah, some Steelfest will be probably quite harsh and cold next week. Yes, Waldman, I hope to interview those bands as well you mentioned. We'll see, we'll see. Alex, I gotta say, I haven't heard really old Tower Goblin BM keyboard stuff, so can't really comment it more than that. Oh, Gyrolamp, you're talking about it was Steel Chaos where I had this Azagal interview, and yeah, the main guy he said like, yeah, you work out and give everything like 7 out of 10. That's kind of a true because most Azagal stuff isn't actually good. So I think I have given that band a lot of 6 and 7 out of 10s rather than everything else. And at some point, it was a kind of a joke that I gave a lot of albums 7 out of 10 because I think they're quite good, but not exactly super good. But I don't know. Probably nowadays I'm even more picky. So the ones that I gave 7 out of 10 a few years ago might now be 6.5 or 6 out of 10. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of a joke thing to say. But I think those guys are rather happy to get 7 out of 10 rather than 5 out of 10. I don't know. Belstad, I've heard a lot of rumors around Hest Soul, but I didn't know about the song. I've heard a lot of real shit talk about Niklas Kvarfjord's things lately, like how he's abusing girls, kind of abusing them for sex and money, draining them cold, and then just leaving those girls. And there seems to be a lot of bitterness online. For example, someone sent me this Instagram account where the whole point of this Instagram account was to basically show like what kind of a douchebag Nicholas really is, like taking the advantage of being this kind of a rock star guy, and then having these girls falling in love with him, and then he's just using them for sex and money because he needs to buy drugs and all that stuff. And this is something that I've heard from a person who actually lived with Nicholas. So I don't not think there are just rumors. And some rumors also say that, hanging around with Nicholas, having him in the same band is just going to hurt those artists. Now, I don't know whether or not these rumors are true, but those drug addict rumors are very, very much circulating around the person. So there must be a reason why they are there all the time, constantly being mentioned. Some might be out of bitterness, some might be out of jealousy and all that stuff. But like I said, rumors don't happen for no reason. Like the saying goes, when there is smoke, there must be fire. Obviously, rumors are kind of bound also to get exaggerated, like somebody who, for example, I'm using myself as an example, somebody who is hating like me for my reviews or interviews. Maybe I hurt somebody's feelings with a review I did, might say that, okay, this Rauta dude is an asshole. He has political views, which I really don't. He has a bad taste for music, which I probably do. And he's an asshole and he has done blah, blah, blah. So people can do these kind of stuff as a way to kind of avenge thing, have their own revenge or act out of bitterness and all that stuff. To a certain degree, those might be full of bullshit. But also to a certain degree, there might be some truth in it. So, for example, if somebody was to say this bald guy from Finland is a full total asshole, it's actually partially true. I am probably kind of an asshole person, at least to a certain degree. I mean, I don't even necessarily, for example, agree with my own self every now and then. But I'm saying things only happen when you treat other people like shit. Sometimes it might be because the reviewer didn't understand. Sometimes if you're a rock star dude and those girls start, flying, throwing shit at you, you probably mistreated those girls. So, like I said, those things don't happen for for no reason. They always happen for a reason. So it seems like Nicholas is really, throwing around some shit, and that's why this Höst Soul Band is not necessarily going to be a successful thing, but we'll see. We'll see. There's one thing, once again, separating the artist from the art and all that stuff. So I don't know, but I'm not too hopeful about this band, and I'm not expecting too much for sure for the reasons mentioned. And yes, Netred, I think a bunch of Finnish bands did release a split in support of Ukrainian war. Yeah. Oh, it seems I'm actually commenting really old comments here because, for example, Philips Lute is commenting about Rammstein, unique and really great, all that stuff. Dorian E is asking me a nice question. Hello, Dorian. How do I deal with listening so much music and also having other time for consuming hobbies? First of all, I listen to music at work, so that gives me a lot of free time to write and talk about music. If I couldn't listen to music at work, obviously I couldn't do these reviews, and I probably would just give up on them, focus only on interviews and random opinion videos. You would have way less content because I wouldn't have the time for reviews. But yeah, I listen to music a lot of hours every week. Basically, if I have like 8 hours of workday, which is the typical thing for me, I listen to that music for 8 hours. That's when I write down notes, which to mention when I'm doing my reviews. But also I listen to a lot of music while I'm like working out, driving my car to different places and stuff like that. For example, for past few days, I've been listening to a lot of new Vatain album on Spotify. And the Nuclear Blast representative just notified me a couple of days ago that the new Vatain CD is coming here. And once I actually have it, I will actually review it. So some of the times when I'm even away from home, I'm listening to stuff which I'm gonna review, and if not, it's gonna be some kind of a worst to best thing, like which I did recently for Burzum. That will be out in a let me see, yes, in a couple 2 weeks. 2 weeks time from now, there will be out this Burzum worst to best, which means I've been listening to a lot of Burzum lately. Until I did that video anyway. So that's why I have so much time to listen to music and still have my other hobbies. So there's that. What else? Reading once again your comments, so it will take a little bit of time. Draconian, I must say, Mortis and Vark, the fathers of ambient, they're not. For example, dark ambient artist Lustmord did music like 10 years before Mortis and Vari. So they only are the ones that are more known to black metal audience as creator of kind of a dungeon synth or black metal ambience. But there are lots of artists, even from the 70s, that kind of started doing the whole thing. So Mortis and Varg kind of actually got late to the party when it comes to dungeon synth and on dark ambient. Just known to metal people because of those metal related things. What else? Luckily, you're having so much talk about, with each other, so I don't have to comment every comment here. Brian Mons, you should definitely see Asagraum. They did like the great gig at Inferno. Yes, Naird, please incorporate For Love of Coast and Bikini Babes with your musical efforts. Include black metal. You can do it. If people can go, put NSBM into BM, there is no reason why not to put Bikini Babes right there. Hello, Ulf Hedmar Norvager. Yes, cold weather, cold cultures about not meet and greet. Yes, that's pretty much how the kind of Nordic metal happens. And yes, someone said, Dassler said that Absurd is Happy Tunes. Yes, Absurd is one of those bands that actually have been way too happy tunes for me, like way too melodic and all that stuff. Morojari Seppanen, nice to have you here as well. How are you doing, man? Mailed your box today, if I didn't mention. Yeah, Philip Luft, it's weird that Austrian Alps and Switzerland also, they have the Alps but no beaches. Why so many black metal bands are not happening in Austria and Switzerland? I guess they're too busy to build those cuckoo clocks and basements for their own daughters. Eric, I think Norse mythology and Kalevala are very true, but also we have to remember that Greek and mythic tales and folklore are very, very grim also, and they have beaches. So there's that. Hello, Oscar. I hope you have a good time in Tresor. I think we were going to get into one of those big techno clubs when me and my pals were in Berlin. That it was 2009, I think, and we couldn't get in. So we were fucked. Poor guys couldn't get into a techno club because we didn't have any girls. We should have had girls in order to get into techno club. How weird is that? Alex Rose, I think I will be happy if Finland joins NATO. So yeah. Yes, Charles, End Wind of Sorg is one of my favorite Dark Throne tracks, but Panzerfaust, Transylvanian Hunger, Under a Funeral Moon, what a perfect trio. And Panzerfaust vocals are the best in black metal of all times. Yes, Brian Mons, I know that Canada is bigger than USA in land size, but I was talking in population because population are, in fact, the ones that have bands. And Dassler said that Panopticon is his favorite of USA metal, and Panopticon is one of those bands that is actually coming from the northern parts of United States. And there are these bands coming from Seattle area or Washington State. You know the what the hell is this? Now I can't remember that mountain area. But anyway, those mountain area, I think that's one of the reasons why there is this very inspiring climate and environment in order to support this kind of a music. Philip Luft, I'm happy that if I could provide you an interesting answer to the theory of darker music. Naturally, I actually sent my mom an SMS already about Mother's Day, so there's that. And Brian, I gotta say that the early Gorgoroth are fucking great, but around the dates Gal joined the band started, getting less good. Yeah, I remember of King of Hell getting this accusation of being poser or whatever because he was part of that whole trial thing about Gorgoroth copyright, related to names and stuff. And at least King of Hell had quite a bit of posing with the Norwegian black metal photography book, so there might be something like that. Not really. I listened to that latest Deadspell Omega album only once, and I still feel like it's not my cup of tea. I might be listening to it some other day, but it's too avant-garde-ish for my liking. So, not my cup of tea, really. Yes, Waldman, I heard my friend is a Buccaneers fan, and he told me about Tom Brady already when it was announced. So, yeah, I'm really stoked to see Tom Brady to play in Buccaneers. Oh, hello, Artur Komorowski. Yes, we met at Inferno by the bar, uh, you know, bar counter to having some beers. It was nice to have you there and good talks. Thank you, my friend. And yeah, indeed, Bandcamp was recently sold to a bigger company, gaming company, actually. So who knows how it will affect. Yeah, Arthur. Yeah. On the roof level, I remember you. What the guy with the mustache? Yes, I remember you now. I was actually confusing you with the Greek guy first, but yeah, I remember you at the roof level. Yeah, we had those good talks. Thanks to Adar Gnetsky about the thumbnail thing. I have a new guy called Chris C from United States who is helping me with the thumbnail. He's working with the graphic design. He's helping me with those thumbnails and doing great stuff for free. I'm really thankful for his help because he is way better with the graphics than me, and he understands my humor perfectly. It seems he has such a good, nice ideas for those thumbnails for reviews and all. So there's that. What else? Um, I think the new Vatine album actually might be the best Vatine album so far. Yeah. Is asking if I still do 531 and how long have I been using the powerlifting program. I used it for years, having pauses every now and then, but now I have been going with the Juggernaut program for more than 6 months. I think I started it maybe it was in November or so. But yeah, now I've been doing Juggernaut. It's pretty much like 531, but also quite different. It's interesting, and now I guess I would be recommending five that instead of 531, especially if one is ready to calculate more weights and have more variety. But I am still very grateful for 531 program for the results and stuff. And no, I have never met Vari. Vari Vikernes was imprisoned, obviously during those times I got into Belgium, and later on he moved to France, so there was never possibility to meet Vari. Dorian, I don't have any guilty pleasure music. No, I don't find that term silly, but it doesn't really fit me because I have no problems with whatever kind of music. Had I been younger, that question might have been more valid in the sense of, like, hey, I kind of feel ashamed about this kind of stuff. But no, not really. I think all the music, if it's good, if it's definitely worth listening to, and it's definitely worth my time. So that's why I don't have any so-called guilty pleasure things. I think it really started changing, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe more, because I remember liking, for example, some individual Britney Spears songs already in the early 2000s. And I didn't have any weird problems like, hey, this is so embarrassing to like this kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, I found Britney Spears very, very super hot, like 10 out of 10, all American blonde. But also, there was something which I really liked. I mean, not in some individual songs. And that has been going on ever since. I remember, when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and there was this weird kind of a dance song, and I kind of dislike dance music in general. But this one dance song, I don't know even the artist anymore, it was like, man, this is some really super cool melody going on about it, or chorus part, whatever. And I don't feel weird about liking music that seems a little bit off. And I know I'm not the only one. I remember, for example, Mikko Aspa of Clandestine Blaze and Northern Heritage. Once upon a time, he was going to, I think, record the new Warlock album back then. But before that, he actually went to see this female duo doing kind of a female Finnish pop music. So it was like, if he can do it, why others can't do it? I mean, I think it would be a poser thing to say, like, hey, I only listen to death metal because I'm so fucking brutal, man. I only listen to black metal because I worship Satan. I mean, sure, if it's your cup of tea, go ahead and do it. But for me, metal is the most definitive type of music which I like. But it's not, the end all, be it all kind of a thing. There are plenty of good music besides that. But for me, metal obviously takes a lot of my time, soundtracks and dark ambient, the rest. So I really don't have so much time to listen to other genres. But definitely when I find something interesting outside my comfort zone, if you will, it's no guilty pleasure. It's just pleasure. So yeah, I kind of your question is really good. I kind of find it silly, but I kind of find it understandable because I know that everybody is not, kind of ready to admit that they like music beyond how they are perceived by others, if that makes sense. And yeah, yes, it's Cascadian black metal was I was looking for. Definitely, thanks for reminding me of that term. Um, what else? Oh yeah, there was this Quarford thing. Yes, Gyro. I think that Quarford scamming and taking money kind of thing really sucks more than just being a cringy artist. Yes, hey Dad, Steelfest next week. Should we talk about Steelfest before we go? It's 1 hour in already. We haven't barely touched Steelfest topic at all. And Arthur, no problem. It was nice that you came to say hello and we had this talk. So it was really cool. And I gotta agree with Philip saying that Gaal's first band Treldom was great. Gaal's would actually still play some Treldom songs during the shows, or at least played, because I remember seeing Gaal's Wood opening for Mayhem in 2019, and then there was some Treldom songs played. What else? Yes, Natred, I think the new Vatan might be their best album so far. They're really coming back, and I'm gonna talk to that new Vatan album more in details with my review. But I'm saying it's not very extreme metal album in so many ways. It's actually kind of a soft and mainstream album, but maybe that actually works for Vatan. It's an interesting blend of, say, dissection. I really spotted some Burzum inspired melodies here and there. There are even clean vocals included by this fuck. Now I'm failing to remember the name. It's not a metal band vocalist, but one of those occult rock bands. Anyway, there are interesting ideas. I feel there's some kind of a Destroyer 666 things going on with Watain having blend of heavy metal and even a little bit of a trash metal with that black metal. And it's a lot of mid-tempo parts. So many ways the new Watain album is actually like a combination of melodic black metal in favor of dissection style, but a lot of other things are also happening. And it's a kind of organic sound, very good and clear and crisp, but it's not overly produced in the sense. It's an interesting album for sure, not for everybody. People wanting to have lots of aggression, of really dark moments, like really ominous feeling and all that sinister things, most likely will be disappointed in that time. But I like it because it's kind of a bold album in so many ways. It's like a black metal album that's not even black metal so much, anymore. But anyway, interesting release that new Vatine, definitely. Yeah, hit me, baby, one more time. No, Natrid, I don't even remember all those Britney songs. I listened to it early 2000, but that was one of those songs, I guess, or was actually. Um, but I don't know. I don't know why I liked them. Kind of hard to say. Eric Oy is asking interesting. Who is the most attractive metal musician? I am now bound to say it's either Arch Enemy vocalist or then Triumph of Death bass player. She was so freaking hot, playing with Dom G Warrior for Triumph of Death show. I was almost like drooling like a fucking idiot when I saw that bass player lady, big bass and boom, having those really low, powerful tunes, and I'm like, like so sexy and so metal at the same time, really. Um, you know, but I really love the Arch Enemy woman. I mean, the way she performs and how she looks, she's stunning. But this is just an like old fucking dude talking about ladies, so who gives a fuck? Yeah, naturally. I think I understand very well why people like Michael Jackson's music because he was a real talent with his stuff. He did some brilliant ideas. I remember when I saw the Thriller music video when I was a kid. I mean, the song is pretty good already, but the music video was like ahead of its time. Fuck, what? How cool was that? So yeah, And all those girls in Asagao, they are pretty nice looking as well. I gotta say, met at least three of those gals at Inferno. Yeah, I understand why people would drool after them. I kind of agree with you, Natred, about Cascadian black metal, and definitely not my favorite kind of thing. But my point was all about Cascadian black metal, that it's something that I couldn't see happening in Texas or New Mexico. It's kind of a reflecting that bleakness of northern states. Yes, hey, let's talk about Steelfest. What do we want to talk about Steelfest? Winterstorm. I still haven't listened to Moloth, or is it pronounced Meleth? Yes, I will definitely interview them if given the possibility. Yes, Samza, it was actually the Devil's Blood. Thank you for reminding. Devil's Blood vocalist was said to be doing the guest vocals for New Vatine. And yeah, girls playing a bass. There is certain kind of a trend. One could say, no, nobody can beat Joe Bench in the business. But yeah, we all know that B Hexen, Behexen has a female bass player, actually the ex girlfriend or ex wife of the vocalist dude. And yeah, we have this Triumph of Death bass player thing and stuff like that. I wouldn't say Vanya from Triptychon is hotter than this Triumph of Death bass player. I mean, Vanya is hot, yes, actually more like cute than hot. But I would say Triumph of Death, the new bass player. I'm not talking about the one you might be thinking, the one who also plays or played in Abath. I'm talking the new bass player of Triumph of Death. I don't know. I tried to Google it for my bandmates when I was typing, our WhatsApp message group, like this new Triumph of Death bass player. Bass player is so fucking hot, and the guys were just, like, do you mean this gal who was named after this Pulp Fiction character, Mia Wallace? No, I wasn't talking about Mia Wallace. I mean, she's, all good, all that stuff. But the new bass player, she's so fucking, hot. Oh, my Mr. Serbian guy, are you talking about the storm? As the stone? Sorry. Oh well, man, nice to hear that or read that you watched the night side gig. Did you like it? Was it worth your time? I hope you enjoyed it. Yes, the Stone. I know the band vaguely. Hey, I actually managed to read all the back scroll with the comments. Wow. Britney Sperms. Yeah, I would definitely go on a date with Britney, even though she's wacko. Yeah, Winterstrom. I assumed that you were thinking about Mia Wallace. I wouldn't have expected that unless I had the same conversation with my bandmates. So they were talking about, like, oh, Mia Wallace, she's pretty hot. I'm like, no, she's nothing like this great looking gal who is now in Triumph of Death. Oh, it's called Jamie Lee. Now we're gonna Google it up. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can totally see the photos now. Yeah, people should probably Google it If you don't know what I mean, I will include one of those images here. And that is if I can. Let's see if that works for you. Obviously, I have no idea how would I feel if I met her face to face or whatever. But at least on that stage, fucking great. Hello, Docon. How are you doing, man? Yeah, Natrid, I don't know. It was if it's your cup of tea that night side, but yeah, give it a shot if you feel like. I mean, you don't have to watch the whole show, but maybe the first song or two to just get the feeling how it is to see Nightside these days. And well, yours truly on the stage as well. And I can understand it's kind of a feeling surreal because everybody knows me. I think they feel so fucking stupid to say that, but people know it me because I'm doing these videos, goofing around, talking about different kind of albums and doing interviews and all that stuff. And then this guy in a fucking robe on stage. Obviously, it's a very different role in that sense. I don't allow myself to do goofing around when I'm, there up on the stage with Nightside. So I kind of have to switch my brain in a very different setting, much like what I, have to do when I'm at work. So I guess it's kind of a surreal in that sense. But at the same time, it's also the same set of brain here happening whether it's Nightside, whether it's Rauta channel, whether it's just me free in time giving a wank to some porn star. I mean, it's still the same effectively. Not a risk. No, I wasn't born bald. I have had like half of my life. I used to have a long hair, and you can pretty much still see. My hair grows. It's not the thickest of the, the kind, but that's because it's very finished DNA. But no, I wasn't born bald. I just keep shaving my head because I kind of got bored of the long hair, especially with martial arts and all that stuff. And now that I haven't doing martial arts, I could basically let my hair grow. By I don't know. I've been like this for now some let me see, 11 years. 11 years as a bald guy, so I don't see myself going back to long hair anymore. But I don't know. No opinion about the Winter Sun gig or whatever. I mean, booting or whatever. Yes, Trevor Lamb, I totally agree. Asaka is good band and they do solid shows. So it's not just like, smiling gals, for titch and shit. So there's that. And thank you, Waldman, regarding Nightside. Nice to hear. Play hide and seek with Rauta in the Finnish wilderness or Austrian Alps. What a strange ideas. Set the budget for that and we can do it. Alexander Grady is asking, what is my approach with exercise and consuming alcohol? Well, I would strongly, advise against combining both at the same time. But they are two different things, and body and mind are not machine. Now, the machine part, obviously, if you consume a lot of alcohol, it will, hinder one down in terms of exercise. But with small, moderate, quantities, alcohol can really, help you to relax that chill down and take it easy. And we all know that the mental side is very much connected to the physical side. So having a beer or two, or whiskey or two, or whatever your poison is, I think it's a good idea. It's important to maintain balance. And like I was joking previously on the stream today, that I don't, trust people who don't drink. Now, obviously, that's kind of a bullshit statement if we factually take a look at it. But I think people who can handle their use, whether it's alcohol, weed, or whatever, versus people who don't do it at all because they're afraid of that. Um, Whatever we are talking about, alcohol or drugs, or people who haven't even tried those, I would say they are less to be trusted. Why so? Because at least when people know their boundaries and how they act under different kind of influence, that I can trust and totally respect. But people who never tried, or people who go overboard with it, that's a different case. But yeah, don't drink too much if you want to work out hard and you want to compete. Obviously, like I said, you can do both. I have for example, our bass player. He's been a competitive lifter and will still be competitive lifter. That doesn't mean he doesn't use alcohol. Actually, he can get wasted every now and then, not too often, but still. And it doesn't mean he's not able to lift and combine those elements. Once again, it's all about moderate amounts, and handling what you can. It's like the same thing with unhealthy food. You can eat potato chips or pizza or whatever if you can still take care of your body and get to you know do your exercising. It's not necessarily a smart thing to do, but fully living smart 100% of your time isn't exactly a human life, not for most people anyway. So there's that. So you can totally do workout and still have craft beers, no problemo. Duncan, thanks for asking. I've been mostly good. Had my COVID a couple of months ago now, and recovered nicely. So can't really bitch about it. Bell said, I don't think you would hate women with that comment anyway. Natharet feeling the wearing the robe was fascinating for a couple of reasons. First of all, uh, it helped get into the very different role than being Rauta, and secondly, kind of a help to build the mood, the atmosphere for the show. So it felt good to not wear your everyday clothing that is usually band shirt or and jeans or whatever cargo pants one is wearing. For example, I use army pants and I wear band shirts. So not to be like that on stage feels very different than your everyday self, if you get that idea. So in that respect, the robe thing kind of worked for us in rather well, I would say. No Christmas elf hats, fuck them. Uh, Dark, sorry, I will skip that long beard one. That first of all, beards are not exactly good for martial arts either, and secondly, it would make me look a lot older. Yes, Waldman does know that I had long hair. Yes, Undead, I'm happy to hear that Gothic girl liked your Venom shirt. And I guess I could say that Hardwork is best Melodeath album for me as well. The girl from Anguished, yeah, she's quite okay. Yeah, Eric is very true about it. That bald type is easily mistaken for a skinhead style, but I mean that it is what it is. Prejudice people will always be prejudiced. So there is that. Yes, Samsa, you can ask me about Finnish booze and tradition and swear words next week, definitely. Oh, Doc, and I'm sorry to hear that you and your wife got through COVID, but happy to hear you're better now. And Gyro is very true about lifting weights, growing appetite. Yeah, it definitely does that. Martial Artiste is asking what is my opinion with crust band. Well, in general, I'm not the biggest fan of crust style. But then again, I actually do enjoy the kind of a hardcore aggressiveness and violence what crust bands have. Sometimes those crust bands sound way more aggressive and violent than a lot of black metal bands. So I gotta give it to them. Yeah. So could be worse. Hello, Dimi Fisher. How are you doing, man? And hello, Perpetual. I think we're closing in roughly in about 30 minutes because then it has been 2 hours on the stream. But I will talk with you at least well, that maximum of 30 minutes. I will pour myself another whiskey so I can start doing like a Finnish non so sober style here what I'm talking about, and you cannot figure out what I'm gonna say. Oh, just joking. Bellstad, there are probably some pictures of me with long hair. I actually at least included one or two long-haired pictures in my Instagram at some point, but don't remember at which date and all that stuff. All right, Walderman, sounds like a plan. I hope your brothers in arms will like the gig. I don't know how it actually sounds. Timmy Fisher, unfortunately, I don't know about Bioshock 4. There has been some talks, I guess, that the franchise will be continued by. Don't know about that. Perpetual no. Kuolema is just death. Nobody uses it as a swear word. Sheet system. Everything the Swedish say sounds kind of a gay. We Finns like to do that. Sheet system. I mean, it would be more brutal if it was just, English. Shit system. And probably it would be, it would sound so much more badass if it was German. Cheers, Gyro. But yeah, at least I posted on an Instagram. Some of those long hair pictures might be also on the Facebook, but I'm not sure. What movies am I gonna see tonight? Nothing. I'm gonna actually start playing right after the stream. There was like 3 weeks of none playing at all. First of all, going to Inferno Festival, setting up those interviews and everything took time. Then I get back. There was time to make the video about the Inferno Festival out tomorrow. Writing a review about it. Then I'll be listening to crazy amounts of review albums because I need to make sure that during my vacation there will be plenty of videos coming out. So, and I have been packing the shit up here at the office. That's why you see these empty CD towers behind me. I've been packing almost all my CDs. The only ones I have around here are the ones that are for review purposes, but my own CD collection all packed in cardboard boxes because I have to empty this one by the start of June. So I haven't really been playing or watching movies lately. I was supposed to have a movie night with my friends tonight, but one of my friends got the host actually got COVID, so no movie night for me today. Which bands am I looking forward to see most at Steelfest? Well, there are very, very few like must have bands. The best ones I think are the ones I've seen. So they're not that much kind of a must have to me. And the ones that I haven't seen, most of them are not super, super interesting. There are, however, a few bands which I'm really into seeing, which I haven't seen for previously. For example, Alpha Hanne, which are who are playing on Sunday. That is definitely one of my most anticipated shows. I'm interested to see Anti-Materia for the first time. Osculum in Fame. It's going to be interesting to see Beelzebub with the guys from now once again forgetting name Mystifier. It will be once again interesting to see Graveland and Destroyer 666. I really like them a lot. So there are plenty of pretty good and interesting bands, but only a couple of kind of a must-see bands which I haven't seen before. So yeah, Alpha Hunter would be actually one of those names which I really need to see. Um, what else? Oh, Belstad was asking what I'm gaming nowadays. Currently playing Horizon Forbidden West. I started it like 2 months ago, and it's big as fuck. And because of my pause with like 3 weeks or 4 weeks of no gaming, I haven't really progressed lately so much. So that's why I hope to get a couple of hours in today and for coming days as well. But also, I need to pack the shit up here at the office, which will take some time of my gaming and movies. Hello, Mike Killer Myers. The thing is, I like dark ambient, but I'm not a big fan of Dungeon synth. So I don't really have favorite Dungeon synth artists. For dark ambient, I have a lot of favorite artists, including arts like or acts like Lustmord, Inaid, Sleep Research Facility, Keronian, Herbs Nine, um, Never Known. What else? Monstrare. There are quite a few dark ambient names which I really, really like a lot. Uh, Horizon Detre is very cool also. But especially nowadays, the more minimal type of things are more my liking. Oh, Notre Dame. The renovation is about renewing the floor here, basically, and also renewing these windows because they do let in some cold air during the winter. So they're quite old. These windows are from mid 80s. So they are fucking old. And this was originally kind of a sauna cabin building, not supposed to be like throughout the year living. But this floorboard is more or less, eaten by rats and shit like that. That's the estimation by with our renovating dudes, the construction company. So this sauna building where my office slash man cave is will be fixed. Probably the ceiling as well, if I understood correctly, because there's kind of attic space right above me, and mostly it will be about replacing the old floor. So this should be warmer and less consuming electricity in terms of heating the place up, and you know just basically fixing the shit that needs to be fixed. Mystery Signal is listing some interesting names because most of those names I haven't even heard. I think it Peget Nexmu is the only one I've heard them. At least I don't know Diger Döden or Knif Hallan, except I think I saw the name, but I haven't heard them, so can't really comment. I gotta say I don't know Valfaris game. Belsat, I think most bands that have the creepiest or scariest or most horrorful of atmosphere are not metal ones. So they're definitely more on the dark ambient stuff. And yeah, Darkon, I think that latest Destroyer 666 album that was already so many years ago is actually, I guess, their weakest album so far. So it's kind of a letdown. And I've been asking to interview Destroyer 666 at Steelfest, but I haven't been promised if that will take place. So we'll see. It takes place if it takes place. It's up to KK War slot. So let's see. Philip Luft, I don't know what you mean, Corona brainwashing agenda. Uh, there is no time where somebody wouldn't get rich and somebody would get poor. I mean, what do you mean by brainwashing agenda? Can't say that I'm into uh, new Call of Duty. So, and Christian Hoffman, I have no favorite Wolfhan albums. I've never bothered listening to that particular band. I don't really listen to YouTube, and I don't have those as physical copies, so never bothered to check them out. Lamia Vox, thanks for the tip. Naire. I'll try to remember to listen to that. Atrium Carcery is definitely a good one. I have a couple of albums, CDs from Atrium Carcery, so that is definitely interesting. They have this kind of a prison or mental asylum atmosphere with their music. And when I was actually typing my Inferno Festival report, I was actually listening to Nostromo by Sleep Research Facility. And it was me and Valkyria guys. We were actually having a dark ambient afternoon at the festival hotel. We were just sipping some Scotch whiskey, closed the curtains, and started listening to dark ambient. I was actually introducing them to some of the acts right there. So instead of metal, we just listened to some dark ambient on Spotify and had some whiskey. It was a interesting afternoon, really. No, I gotta say I'm not into noise bands. I mean, I'm interested in them only as live acts, but on albums I don't really listen to them. I've seen Genocide Organ play, or at least I think it was Genocide Organ. I never seen acts like Grunt by Mikko Aspo play live, but I don't really listen to noise or power electronics on albums. But I've seen a few gigs of those over the years. Dimi Fisher, my serious opinion about Pantera was released quite a few weeks ago. Worst to best of Pantera by Rauta. So if you want to take a look at it, well, there is. Pantera worst to best video is out. Martial artist is asking what is my opinion about Muay Thai and martial art. Well, having had a martial arts experience for more than 20 years, well, that should tell you a lot about my opinion about it. Muay Thai is an interesting discipline in the world of sports martial arts. Very effective kicks and punches, but nowadays I'm more into self defense rather than just sports of martial arts. Thank you, SK, for your beautiful donation to Rauta. You're already donating so much with your support through Patreon, so you wouldn't have to, but thank you so much. Too bad you're not coming to Steelfest, but thank you once again for your everlasting support for Rauta channel. I hope you liked the Belzer interview, and I should have another interview for you out next week if my editor gets it done in time. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy those interviews. Yeah, people who don't know who SK is probably the number one supporter of Rauta throughout these years via Patreon. He's one of the main reasons why we got to do Inferno Festival 2022 trip, and one of the main reasons why we got 8 new interviews coming out through that. So you might thank him as well for his everlasting support for Rauta. Can't say I have ever met or I would know Wyatt X him. So sorry. Timmy Fisher, no, I don't play chess. I think it's really smart and one of the best designed board games ever. Obviously, I have played a game of chess here and there during the years, but I don't actively play it. But I have full respect for chess. Dakon, you mean interviews in general of death war metal bands by me, or you mean like in coming future? Yes, martial artist. I know a few French bands. Dakon, I don't know there are any war metal bands in the foreseeable future where I could get some interviews done with them. So I don't know, to be honest. Um, the thing here is there are not too many war metal bands touring in Finland anyway. So I mean, Blood Chalice and Hellfire Death Cult I've done, but apart from that, I don't know that any war metal band is even playing here. So there's that. Oh, SK, please let me know if I can help you to sell your ticket. Um, I will do my best. I know it's a very tight schedule, but if I can help you to sell it, just let me know, and I will try. And alternatively, you could try to sell it on Rauta's Discord. Belsat, we shall see how Satanaki interview will turn out. Hello, Stefano Ramon. Oh, kind of. Okay, thanks for the info about Wyatt X him. Um, is he a good reviewer then, or why he was mentioned? I still don't know even what would be my favorite French metal band. Uh, Nehemah might be one of those. Early Dead Spell Omega, definitely. Mm, but I don't have a clear favorite French metal band as such. Yes, Waldo, I have one daughter, and she's 7 years old. Sometimes I listen to her. I listen with her to some metal music, but she's not too keen on the extreme metal side, which I can totally understand. But yeah, we sometimes listen to Heavy Saurus, for example. And SK, if you want, once again, we can do a giveaway and stuff like that. If you cannot sell it, or if things are like that, so Stefano Ramon, it's a little bit okay to be a little drunk. It's fine. Okay, Sayonara. Thanks for the information. Black Lodge is pretty solid, yeah. Yes, Waldo. That's what I was thinking as well. But yeah, my kid is still more into let's play with some Legos and play with Barbie dolls rather than let's listen to some kind of Slayer thing. But for example, I did this Heavisaurus gig review asking her comments. This was before COVID, so obviously she was a little bit younger. We also did one Heavisaurus album review together with her. That was probably like 3 years ago. So I asked like for her opinion when I was doing the review and write down notes. So it's cool to do things like that, father daughter kind of a thing. So it's nice. Yeah, Cenotaph is actually playing at Steelfest. Thank you, Draconian. I like that Mysticum chat what we had there at Steelfest. They're cool guys here, I think, and they understood when I mentioned being under influence at one of their shows. Martial artist, I don't think too many people consider me a skinhead. Skinheads used to be more common in Finland in 1990s, not so much anymore. My personal opinion about skinhead movement is that they can just fuck off. I mean, everybody is entitled to their opinions, political or otherwise. But personally, those guys act like a douchebags when they were taking place in Finland. But yeah, yes, Waldman, I do like mutilation and Vlad Tepes, for example. Undead, no, you don't find. Well, basically, you can find metalheads all over Finland, but it doesn't mean that most people are metalheads here in Finland. But basically, if you almost any city, you can probably find some kind of metalhead, even those more rural Christian neighborhoods which you just mentioned. But yeah, I guess they are more rarity if you go into smaller cities and towns, or towns and villages, I guess I should say. But yeah, I guess metalheads are more common in bigger cities. Yeah, hey, that's there are definitely skinheads in Finland, but I don't think they're that big numbers. Oh, Bellstadt, you never heard "Never Stop the Madness." Now, that's a thing I guess I needed to do on a video because I thought everybody knows it. But okay, so back in the days, I think it came from the 80s. There was this campaign, Stop the Madness. And the Stop the Madness thing was against drug abuse. It was basically to enlighten the people that you should not use drugs because they endanger the lives of millions of people. Now, come early 90s, with people like Uranus from Mayhem and all that stuff, they kind of inverted the whole idea. Instead of saying stop the madness and don't do drugs, they kind of inverted the idea into do drugs, kill yourself, and crush all humanity and all that stuff. So this never stop the madness was basically like supporting drug use and basically being this edge lord stuff of early 90s, like basically young kids 20s or so being like, yeah, use drugs, kill yourself because you're scum and all that stuff. Now, back in the days, it was, of course, hilarious thing to do. But of course, when you get older, you wouldn't exactly advise your own kids like, hey, you should do drugs and all that stuff. So it's still something that, we could joke about it like, hey, never stop the madness and blah, blah, blah. But obviously, it's not something that you would hope for your best friends or your parents, or if you have your own kids. You don't want your kids to, die in drugs, obviously. But yeah, it started as an inverted campaign, much like, Christianity had crosses up, and black metal and satanic death metal bands started inverting the whole idea like fuck you god and blah blah blah. So that's basically the story of never stop the madness, if it makes sense. Philip, I don't know about you, but for example, my good friend's dad died because of COVID. My other good friend's mom died of COVID. I have gone through COVID. Some of my good friends have gone through COVID. Nobody actually likes it. So I don't know. It's a brainwash thing. It's a fucking disease, man. Thinking about it's just a fake epidemics is like, I don't know. If you don't believe in science, you're out of hope. Then you can start praying to God, really. Martial artist, I have a few tattoos. I actually need to count. Like, I think I have nine, nine tattoos. Excuse me. I think I have nine tattoos all in all, if I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, but we have to understand that RAC is or might be different than NSBM, which is also a little bit different than being skinhead. So they might be overlapping and having similar people or same people, but they're also still a little bit different also. Yes, yes, Christian, exactly like that. Yes, Waldman, that's a good thing. Ask opinions of your kids. Yeah, exactly, Marcos. That was a Roadrunner release thing, and I think it was kind of endorsed way beyond Roadrunner as well. And Demi Fisher, you're right. Exactly. Psychedelic drugs are not exactly the same thing as heroin or whatever. But people who are anti drug just want to box it all in, like being one and the same thing. Bellstad, exactly. That's why the reason is, those DSBM bans, which are either self destructive or advocating destruction of others. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense that they would be supporting this Never Stop the Madness. But like I said, basically it's very edge lord kind of a stuff. I mean, you probably could not see an NSBM band doing, Never Stop the Madness, because it would be like how to say, overlapping with the ideas in the sense of, being in two opposite directions. You can't really be like, hey, let's build a nation with our DNA and genetics and blah blah blah, and at the same time, like, hey, kill yourself. It doesn't really make sense. Modern science is just Christianity middle ages. That makes no fucking sense. Sorry to say, but that's one of the either most sarcastic comments ever, or some of the stupidest shit I've ever read on a comment section. Hello, Rayman. I'd look like a Bruce Willis. I take that as a compliment. People believe science blindly. I don't think so, but science actually is self-correcting, so it's not like religion. You can't really compare beliefs with scientific facts. That doesn't really compute. That's like saying facts are the same things as opinions, which are not. So that's a weird way to put it. Uh, so that makes no fucking sense. Yes, Dimi Freezer. Yes, conflicting. Thank you. Hello, GD Snuff. You're kind of a join late to the party because this stream is coming to an end very, very soon. Yes, Stefano Ramon, that's very true. And I've heard some interesting inside information about those right wing people saying, like, they might be, some people there are like anti-drugs, and saying like this could be superiority and all that stuff, yet at the same time they do drugs behind the scenes when people are not seeing. So that's one of the problems, in my opinion, with that whole RAC slash um, NSPM or whatever scene, like if they can't be honest about, building the better version of yourself kind of a belief. I mean, if they're like saying one thing and doing the other, like saying drugs are bad, you're supposed to be this Aryan super soldier, and then you're at the same time doing cocaine the next hour behind the curtains. It's just fucking bullshit. Martial arts, my top five favorite food: sushi, pizza, Mexican food, hamburgers, um, Indian food, I guess. Philip, you mean everybody goes where the money is? Modern science, I mean, of course, science benefits of money. That's kind of a given. But then again, everybody goes where the money is by your logic. So Um, it's not like science goes to money and everybody else goes to different direction. Religious people go even more for money than science. You hear me? So, I mean, you have to pay the bills. Doesn't matter if you're a believer in God and you don't give a shit about science, or if you're a scientist, you all need money. Even artists go for the money by your logic. Everybody needs money. People of God, people without God, people who have never even heard of God. So saying that the modern science goes where the money is, I'm saying like you go where the money is. So fucking what? You cannot live without money, so there's that. Christian Hoffman, who is J Dog. Hate Edge, that's what I was thinking, but I've heard quite contrary that even the so-called real NSBM or real National Socialists are doing drugs. Maybe they are fake ones, but it doesn't help if the leaders in the scene are those fake ones. So there's that. Raveman, I don't really like most progressive metal, but it's not like I dislike it either. Waldo, that might be true. I don't know. I don't know these people in question I was told about, but I'm just saying what some people inside the scene have told me. So that's only as far as it gets. Bellstad, yes, in fact, that was studied quite recently, and I think it was even since the 70s or 80s that opinion started to matter, feelings started to matter more than the facts. So people that this is reflected how people write online and how they write articles. Now it's more about how I feel rather than what I know. And these have been studied, and now people are less rational than what they used to be in the decades ago. So unfortunately, we live the age of feeling rather than age of knowledge, if you know what I mean. And that's it's a fucking sad direction. Uh, it seems like every other person online seems to be master of this and that. Every other people are now virologists like, hey, I know corona, I know science, I know that earth is flat. And they were like, what the fuck? You don't know anything. You just believe in something. So there's a lot of believers nowadays, which I think is a very, very sad direction. Hate Eds, I'm not saying that you don't. You probably know a lot better than the scene because I'm not part of it. I'm just saying what I have heard from people inside the whole thing. So, like I said, I only have the kind of a second-hand knowledge. Martial artist, what is my opinion about Gorgoroth? Well, I love old Gorgoroth albums, but since Gall joined the band, roughly those era, the band started to go in the um, worse direction. And nowadays, Gorgoroth is only a pale shadow of what the band used to be back in the days. That is actually something, and me and Philip Luftkans agree on that music with ideology is sad and stupid. I mean, music should stand for itself. I agree. Kramalerov, I cannot say I have heard about the performances at past Oscars Ray Fests. Never actually paid attention what the guys or bands are doing there in terms of shows. Hate edge, that is very, very true. And that exactly, there is only truth. And that's what I'm saying is that calling science bullshit is a very weird statement because that's like in direct contradiction with, truth. What is the best porn film ever? I don't know. I never watch full porn films. Basically, I just give wank to porn if I need to relieve. And of course, metal is way more than just those tunes. Uh, of course, but that comes with the territory. I mean, you can have attitude without music, and you can have music without attitude. It's of course when you combine both. But I mean, let's be honest about it. There can be good bands without good lyrics and good attitude and ideology and all that stuff. There can be a plenty of good musicians with plenty of good ideas and lyrics and statements, and they can still do shitty music. So it's not like every time those go in like hand in hand. So there are lots of shitty bands with good opinions or and all that stuff, and there are bands with good music but lyrics full of shit. Belsat, you are no fap. Nobody will believe you. Undead, unfortunately, you are very wrong. People started dying way less with the vaccines. I mean, there's a lot of proof of that. Of course, natural immunity is a good thing, but it really didn't help that many people. You don't have to take vaccines if you don't like it. Like there's this saying, vaccinate only the kids you want to survive. And that holds very much true. Maybe that's why you don't have kids. I don't know. But yeah, if you don't trust science, stop taking medication and stay true to that thing. I mean, if you have a headache, don't take headache pills because, well, that's science. Also, you can try, crashing your car without, safety belt because obviously you don't believe in science. You don't believe in velocity. You don't believe in energy. You don't believe in gravity. You don't believe that, drinking a couple of whiskey bottles can, I don't know, fuck up your head. You can also do those trucks because, hey, you can just choose to ignore science. So, yeah, try it. Try doing huge piles of coke, heroin, whatever, and just go the boundaries. You can trust your immune system, really. I will urge you to do that. I mean, if you get cancer, don't beg for fucking treatment because you don't believe in science. Just suffer the baby. Your immune system will take care of it. Or better yet, you can always pray to God and pray that God helps you because, hey, God created everything, right? So he will definitely help you out if you don't believe in science. He's like, hey, you don't believe in science. I will magically cure you. You can give that a go. So, and if it doesn't help you, don't come back as to crawling like, hey, baby, I need some science. That natural immunity system didn't help me. But don't believe it fucking turncoat, man. Or actually, do that as you please. I don't give a fuck. But I think it's just kind of a bullshit that people are like, hey, they are like cherry picking with science. They choose. Because I don't do vaccines. I can still use this and that. And it's like bullshit. You just said you don't believe in science. It's fucking ridiculous, man. I mean, if you don't believe in science, stop using mathematics. It's science, you know. It's all really simple. If you choose to ignore science, then you should be able to ignore gravity. You can just jump on a Empire State Building and not fall to the ground because you can just say it's bullshit. But people are using microwaves and saying science is bullshit. People use refrigerator saying science is bullshit. It's like fucking cherry picking, you know? Just because you don't see atoms and stuff like that doesn't, make them unreal, untrue. It fucking gives me a headache, man. Phillips, if you don't believe in Corona, don't. That's totally up to you. But, you know, I've seen people getting that. I have had it. I don't. I didn't know why would anybody create such a you know um what do you call it, conspiracy theory about it and make it fucking global. I mean, that's fucking crazy. But maybe that's some kind of a Russian thing that people are now prone to. Graham Alerov, you can uh, read about video reviews, what I do on the website. Just open the Rauta YouTube website on a browser. I don't mean the mobile app, but the browser. You get the information there. You have my email address, and you can ask me. Physical copy is required, and well, I can give you the rest of the information. Stefano Ramon, you were asking when I would do a tour with a video show of my guitars. There's not much to show really with my guitars. I mean, I have a couple of cheap ass Jacksons and all that stuff. So there's not much to show. Yes, Bellstad, exactly. Well, if under is 18, that kind of tells a lot about the COVID stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Waldo, but you really have to say modern science means microwave ovens, refrigerators, and electric cars. Uh, Even internet is very fucking modern science. I mean, it's the product of science. The funny thing that I what I notice with a lot of people who say I don't believe in science, guess in what in fact it's happening is that people are using their smartphones. That is the result of science in order to type their I don't believe in science messages. So it's like a fucking joke. It's the biggest irony is that people use internet, smart devices, and everything that is made possible by science to saying, I don't believe in science. It's as if I was writing a letter to some people to say, I don't believe in ink and paper. See the irony. If you don't get it, you don't really get what science is. So, makes no sense. It's as if I'm talking to a deaf pair of ears. It's just like, waste of my time. I think you're kind of a joking. I like to believe so. Maybe you're just trolling me. Hello, Anna. Yes, it's Rauda, and I hope you're having a good time. I was already supposed to leave here already 15 minutes, but I guess I'll stay here for a little bit. Yes, DB Fisher, obviously you don't take medicine if you really need that. So that is that. Undead, yeah, yeah. It's not like man can get pregnant. That's one other thing, but obviously that's we're not going to talk about UFO conspiracies here, and you really can't compare, taking a normal vaccine. And I'm not talking about COVID here. I'm just taking the regular vaccines, which your parents probably gave you as a kid, or well, doctor gave you those. But you know, talking about men getting pregnant is a little bit different thing than just uh, taking painkillers for headache or getting vaccinated on all that stuff. Yes, Waldo. Of course, I missed the point because the point is fucking contradiction. So it's like religious people talking to an atheist and saying, "Yeah, he misses the point. He doesn't believe in Jesus. I believe in Jesus. Why doesn't Rauta believe in Jesus? Because Rauta doesn't believe in Jesus bullshit. That's why." Yeah, he is missing the point. He doesn't believe in Jesus. Well, I don't. Sorry. Yes, I'm very much agreeing with Doc. And please stay in school. You obviously need it. Anna, I have actually had long hair for most of my life, so I have been only shaved head for like 11 years. Oh, Undead is not a government puppet. Wow, we have a real edge lord, a real rebel here. Wow, that's I guess why he's undead, which are real, by the way, real zombies and skeletons. Be very afraid, government. We have undead here as a rebel warrior. Yeah, who needs school anyway? I mean, who needs to read? I mean, why would you need read these comments? Because you can obviously just listen to those comments. Like, wow, this is getting fun. Yeah. I guess I'm just ranting way too much, but this is fun. Now I'm actually understanding why science people like to troll those religious people, like what happened in the United States and what happened with, Richard Dawkins and stuff like that. Once again, you don't have to believe in science and you don't have to be believe in laws of nature. You can just defy them as want to, like as much as you want. But I think the laws of nature and science will eventually win because science doesn't really give a damn if one believes in the rules of the universe or not. So there's that. Martial art is asking my best memories in a concert. One of my weird yet best memories in a concert was when I was making out with my ex girlfriend during a blasphemy concert. Back then, she wasn't even my girlfriend yet. We started making out when blasphemy, was playing Soj, and that was an interesting memory. Seeing blasphemy for the first time and actually, you know, making out with this really gorgeous girl. That was interesting. Waldo, now you're moving the goalposts. What's not exactly modern science? If you don't consider internet, for example, modern, what do you mean exactly? Like, do you mean some science fiction, maybe? Uh, so, yeah, it depends what you mean, like modern science. Bellstad, yes, exactly. You're very true about this cherry picking thing. So, that's exactly the funny thing. You were enlightened by Age of Reason, yet then again denying reason and science because you all got it figured out by whatever was figured out by, 19th or 20th century. Waldo, I have no problem about homeschooling if you can get your shit sorted out. That's totally fine by me. If you can, if you learn to read, if you have learned mathematics and the basic things which you are supposed to by the school system, it's fine in my books. I mean, certainly some people are genius by birth. If you can get everything sorted out without an official school, you're fine. But if you become some kind of you know, normal life dropout because you didn't, want to do school, and you say government sucks because you don't get a penny, because you don't even understand the very basics, I think evolution is happening right there. Science is happening right there. And of course, Philip, you can criticize science if you're a scientist. Of course, you can do it. So that's totally fine. I know not every doctor agrees on everything. So, of course, the beauty of science is that you can criticize and you should question everything. Unlike religions, science actually benefits of questioning. And that's when the real, you know, jumps in science actually take place. You challenge those rules that are made. Like for example, Albert Einstein. He made some theories, and there are lots of theories which still take place. Of course, those rules and theories should be challenged and questioned. That's like the basic thing in science. But I don't think where one just like, hey, science until this and that date is valid, and after that it becomes bullshit automatically just because you were like 5 years old then. Like, what the hell? But I get your point. I think yes, I agree. Science and scientific theories should be questioned, like every fucking thing. I question my life choices like constantly, not like every fucking day, but often enough. I question whether I actually think about this and that about, for example, in Rauta context, this band, or do I actually like this album, or do I dislike this and that band for, correct reasons, things like that. I have been saying for a lot of years that I'm kind of agnostic rather than full blown atheist. Technically speaking, I'm atheist, but I still believe I want to give the benefit of doubt. Like, what if there is some kind of deity? What if there is some kind of god or gods who made the whole universe? And what if there are these deities or gods or whatever? Like, what would it mean? Could Rauta do an interview with a god or gods? But if they don't exist, I really can't do those interviews, right? But I want to give the benefit of doubt. For example, even though I was ranting here about science, and even though I was picking a little bit on Waldo or Philip or Undead or whoever here is like anti-science, I understand that it is because how you perceive life, and I can live with that. Like if you died before because you didn't take vaccines or because you don't believe in science, you have the right to do that. It's not my position to say you're wrong. And that's the beauty of what I like in science. You can't question it. And science is self correcting, unlike most religions. That is, if science finds out, and it's not like science is one big ball of people or like a group of people or thoughts which are like similar. It's more like bands. If they just suddenly like, hey, I think we were wrong about this and that. Like there is no real gravity, or hey, people don't really die. They just move on to the deserted islands like those elves in Lord of the Rings or whatever. I mean, if there is proof of something different, science is like, okay, we approve this new theory right now because this actually is backed by facts. Science is all about facts. Facts don't give a fucking shit about opinions. And that's something that people don't necessarily understand. Science doesn't give a damn. You know, people of science can give a damn about this and that, especially if scientific people have their own theory and that theory gets crushed. These scientific people might feel like they have been personally crushed, much like if an artist creates a riff and it's like, yeah, this is a fucking killer riff, man. This is really cool. And then some reviewer person or some fan says it's actually quite crappy riff. These artists can be crushed because their hard work has been crushed by those other people's opinions. But science is more like, okay, things changed. Okay, these are the facts we know now, which we didn't know like 100 years before. Let's get things straight and live by these rules. But the laws and rules of mankind are very different from science. Science doesn't have a personality, it doesn't have a persona, it doesn't have opinions. It's Science is something that revolves around facts. Scientific people might not be revolving about around facts. Some do, some don't, much like everybody else. And that is something that people need to understand. Science is not a god. Science is not a person. Science is not a group of people or group of animals. Science is just the idea of, facts that are based on something real, not necessarily tangible, because some of those are obviously theories. We cannot really go to atom level and see them with, our plain eyes and all that stuff. We need tools and gadgets to see certain areas in life or in the cosmos. And of course, some people can just choose not to, believe in that. You can take a telescope and look at the stars, and some people will see actually stars, and some people, no, it's just some magical carpet in the universe, and all I'm seeing is a black fucking blanket, and those are light bulbs. You can believe whatever you want. If that makes your life better, who the hell I am to say you cannot do that? But it certainly is something that I can relate to. For me, it's all about um, actually believing in God. So if you don't believe in science, in my books, you're a religious person, and that's totally fine for you, I guess. Not necessarily fine for me, but I can leave it that. And it's kind of weird to say you don't need to get butthurt. Who gets to hear, you know, uh, decide who gets butthurt? I mean, who does that? And I think that's the funny thing is that how normies. Um, if I mean, what's the definition of normie? If it's like a normal functioning brain, really, or if it's just something that how the normal life works. I cannot see that as a negative or positive word, but that's just me. And Brett Baker, what do you mean, Jerry the ladies man? Never saw it myself that way, so you must be sarcastic. Waldo, sorry, I didn't mean he really defined modern science. I mean, uh, you probably get a different results from on the online if you Google what modern science is. But I didn't see any numbers, and that wasn't because I went on a rant. And anyway, this is my stream, so I get to say whatever I want. But I mean, I didn't see definition like, hey, modern science ends up in or starts with 20th century or whatever. But the funny thing is, modern science means a very different for people in our generation or to people who lived in say 100 years ago. So there is that. Yeah, Christian Hoffman. Yeah, well, we met up at the Black Flames of Blasphemy concert, so we had a little bit this and that, eye contact and whatever. Blasphemy start playing, and then you start, or like, you know, hey, well, we'll find a way. Marcos Mendes, you're exactly right. Saying gender is a social construction is not science. That's very true. That's what I tried to say here. Actually, Kalpesh, I've said I met a Black Wings also, and we talking about powerlifting. Yes, Stefano, I definitely the science discussion definitely touched me. And why shouldn't it have touched me? Yes, Belstad, I used to be way more annoyed with Christian and other religious people. Nowadays, I don't really give a fuck. If they're decent people, I can live with that. That's fine with me. That goes for other religions as well. I don't personally like religions, but I can live with religious people if they don't bother me. So Belstad definitely, like you said, as long as you don't bring harm to anyone or infringe on anyone's rights, yeah, I can live with that. Kram Alarev, I have actually ranked Doctor on discography worst to best, so that is answered there. Not my favorite. Yes, Christian Hoffman, I would definitely interview Odin as well as Zeus and Jesus and well, all those religious dude. That would be making way more interesting interviews than interviewing band members. And Waldo, cool that we're on the same page. I wasn't trying to even pick on you or anybody in particular, but that's why I wanted to make this point clear that science is not people. It's not even like people making science as such, because science exists whether or not we believe in it. Winterstorm, I can totally understand that point. Not everybody necessarily needs vaccination. I had those shots because I wanted to play it safe, but that's just my opinion. Yes, Andy, exactly. Now that you mentioned vitamin supplements, that science, yes, like said, cherry picking. Actually, vitamin supplements are very much modern science. It's not like people had vitamin supplements in 1700s. So definitely modern science. Yeah, the funny thing is when people are usually anti-government and all, the funny thing is those people are not leading, and you can only wonder why. If they were so smart, why are not there the people in power? But usually it's the average man saying that the government is shit and the people that lead us are the blind. It's always Elon Musk's or Bill Gates or Mr. Bezos' fault or Steve Jobs or whatever. It's always the rich people ruining normal people's lives. It's never the normal people ruining their own lives, of course, because it's just easier to blame it on rich people or government or God. I mean, what is government if not people? Aliens? I don't know. But maybe other people know. I don't know. I'm a simple man. I don't know jack shit. Thank you, Philip Luft, for understanding me. I cannot say that Christians are my people, though, because they're definitely not. I mean, people cannot really choose their skin tone, but people can really choose their religion. So there's that. So people choosing religion are definitely not my people, if there is my people in the first place. I don't know what my people even mean, really, these days. All right, Stefano Ramon, thank you for interest. You will have my email and you can just email me about it. All right, thanks, Belstad. I know that my rants can be very annoying, but they can be entertaining to some, I guess. Thank you, Philip, for your words. And by no means, I hope you understand. Uh, I'm not expecting two people to agree with me. Not about reviews, not about my views, not about anything. That's the beauty of it. We don't have to agree with one another or everything or anything for that matter. We can just have our own opinions and faiths and beliefs and whatever. But as long as we treat one another with decency, we don't even have to respect one another. We just have to understand that we're different, and that might be enough for us to get along. And even if we don't get along, we don't have to act like Russia and attack the fellow man. So all in all, in the end, I think what matters is that if one can be a decent person, we can have our disagreements, and that's just fine. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink a lot. Thank you, Christian Hoffman. Nice to hear that you had a good time. I think I will be going in now because I have to go into bed around 4 a.m. and it's getting closer to 3 a.m. And I think I want to do a little bit of gaming before getting to bed. So shoot me with your final questions and comments. I will reply and then get into bed. I'm not going to touch on National Socialism. Let's state it this way. I'm not a political person and I don't care about NS. And Waldo, I know that you mean white Christians, but they are not my people nonetheless. And thank you, SK. You were a good guy as well. Dimi Fisher, of course, you can send your books to read, but I am a slow reader and I'm a very busy person, so I don't have that much time to read. But if you want, sure. Um, Bell said yes, Rauta community is people, and we all have different views. So there's that. And that yes, I'm definitely okay with different opinions. Of course, of course. That's why I was saying like I hate when people ignore facts. Like that's what gets me so upset with people attacking science. Like said, you don't have to believe anything at all. Like you can just ignore whatever you want. But like saying science is self-correcting, and that is it goes with with facts. If you choose to ignore some of the facts, it's up to you. But and of course you can always question. Like I said, you can question, and I think we need to question things in science. And heck, if we stop questioning things in life, and that is where we go down to my nihilism mind by saying like this is my worldview. I think we need to be ready to question everything, be it facts, be it opinions, be it feelings, everything. But by questioning, it doesn't mean that we choose not to believe in things. Like I could question, it's not really night out there, but when I open my eyes, pinch myself here, and like, okay, I'm awake. It's still fucking night, you know. But at least we can choose to make a wild guess, like what if things are like not that. For example, I don't know jack shit for real about how vaccines work. I can only choose to believe what is written by scientists, people who operate in science. And this is just an example, this vaccination. This could be as well about atoms or light and energy, things like that, or fucking sound, how we hear it. All we know for sure is that we exist, and everything else could be just a fucking dream. Like if you ever read philosophy, even the very basics, or even watched the fucking Matrix movie, you could and should know that we cannot know nothing for sure. We don't know even if we exist here for real. If this is our imagination, or if this is a video game, or some kind of a simulation. Maybe we are just a dream in some other entity's mind. Maybe this conversation actually never happened for real, but it's just something that you dream, you know? But at least in this reality, I know that if I would take this bottle and hit it in myself my in the head, I would know the pain would feel fucking real. I don't know if I actually did hit myself, or if there is thing like pain in reality. But if that's what I'm feeling, I kind of have to believe that there is some kind of a pain, and I don't want to feel it, you know. But like I said, one of the philosophers who was pondering about existence ended up in this idea that the only thing we know for sure is that we exist, and therefore we are alive. But beyond that, all bets are off. Now, this same philosopher, Descartes, or is it pronounced Descartes, uh, ended up believing because we are alive, therefore there must be God. But I think that's kind of a malfunction in his brain, because nothing indicates that because we live, there has to be a God or gods. But if a person is religious or spiritual in nature, I guess that's kind of a bound to happen, because then you can pretty much just say that what Christianity does, it's really, really good excuse for act like a shitty person to say everything happens because God wills it. I exist because God wills it. There was World War One and Two because God wills it. Ukrainian war is because God wills it. There are babies with leukemia because it's the will of God. I mean, you can really basically use that kind of an endless excuse. I shoot heroin in my veins because it's the will of the God. What kind of a shit life is that? That's like giving the responsibility of your own life to somebody else, because you can just get away with it. Do a couple of Hail Marys and you're like, hey, God, I murdered a couple of people. Let's do 10 Hail Marys and I'm free to go. No sins, no punishments, no whatsoever. So I think that's a really bullshit mentality to think it like that. But like I said, I can take that from Descartes, that the only thing we know for sure is that we exist. Beyond that, nothing is so certain. That's how I feel about it. Can I prove it? Of course I can, because I'm a simple human man. I cannot prove all these things. These are all theories. But then again, there are lots of theories which can be proven. We have to kind of calculate. That's how life is. We just do estimations. Basically, that's what happens when you try to shoot somebody with a bow and arrow or a gun, and you're like, okay, and there it goes. It's an estimation of how things will go. But you really can't know if there is a bird that suddenly flies down and your bullet ends up hitting that particular bird. Or what if your bullet just takes a 90-degree turn and suddenly turns up? But you can estimate those are very unlikely things to happen because they have never ever happened before. But technically speaking, life is just about estimations, wild guesses, theories, and all that stuff. We really don't know a lot of things. We just have to make a wild guess about it. And that's how people's relationships also happen. You don't know if that girl that you have feelings for loves you back or vice versa. So you just make those estimations and then you act accordingly. So, for example, if I estimate this bottle, if I would hit myself in the head, would cause me pain, I would like, hey, maybe I should not hit myself in the head with this bottle because it would make no fucking sense. That is, unless I want to feel the pain or prove that pain might exist in my, existence, in my brain or whatever. But this gets kind of a, very basics, and you all probably know this way better than I do. So I guess there's no point for me to go on and on about it. Thank you, Waldman, for your comment. Thank you, Waldo, for your comment as well. Belstad, can I beat werewolf in a fist fight? What do you think? Can I recommend some new Finnish movie? Mm, Tuntematon sotilas, the new version too. Well, Belstad, the thing with nihilism is that it's not the end philosophy. Nietzsche already figured out when he was writing about philosophy called nihilism. Nihilism is only kind of like a midway station. Like you figure out that maybe these ideas don't have inherent meaning, and maybe you should actually question a lot of things. Nihilism is not the philosophy that gives you questions. I mean, answers your questions. It's basically what opens you the book, with a lot of words and all that stuff. So, in a way, it's a very silly philosophy. But then again, it's also, in my opinion, only a part of bigger philosophy. It's not like the kind of an end all solution. It's like, hey, you have nihilism here. Let's go. Yes, intelligence is very, very relative, obviously. And of course, when one gets hired by a government doesn't mean it's automatically intelligent. But I mean, if you really want to change something on governmental level, then one has to become part of the system. I don't personally want that. I don't like politics, and I'm not so much anti-establishment. Actually, for me, it works better to go like, you know, agree with certain things that government or whatever gives me, because there are lots of rules which just suit me very well, like for like traffic rules or laws. Why would I choose to challenge them and substitute with them my own? Because it wouldn't work. So being anti-establishment and anti-government by default, because it would serve a superior purpose, doesn't make much of a sense. Of course, there are always rules and laws which you don't necessarily like, but then again, somebody else wouldn't like and support your laws or rules either. So there is that. I've said it many times over the years, but as long as there is more than one people on Earth. All it needs is two people, and they can never be free as long as they coexist. Because one man's freedom is taking something off from this other one. Like, for example, say this person A says, I want to have full liberty, I want to have full freedom, and that means I want to live alone. And this other people is like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Now, these two people cannot coexist because if they both want the freedom to live alone, they can only be alone when they're, literally alone, like the only one living on the planet. Now, instead of these two people, what if there are 10 or 10 million people and they all are like, hey, we all want to be alone without other human beings? You're getting where I'm putting this. The thing here is only one person on planet Earth can be fully free of other people. Otherwise, they are doing compromises. That's what life is fucking all about. You have to understand those rules and laws. You don't necessarily have to like them. You don't have to necessarily agree on them. But then kind of what happens is, what could be called is might is right. So say this person A is stronger than this person B. This person A can really go all dictatorship mode and put this person B under his rule, at least until this person A is too weak because of old or whatever. And this B just kicks the shit out of this A and is finally, you know, replacing the person A, become the person A for the next generation where there is person B, person C, person D, etc. So once again, either these people choose to make compromises so then they can coexist and they can pretty much fuck all and die, because that's eventually what will happen. That's why there are wars always around the planet. And even if there was this one person alone on the planet surviving as the one true freedom person saying like, hey, I'm finally free, there are no everybody else, eventually this one person will die, and that's the end of story. And there's nobody to say I want to be free. Instead, animals and plants will take that role, like there was dinosaurs before human beings, and the same cycle will repeat all over again until the sun will die and the whole planet will cool down so much there is no life on that planet, and that's probably the end of story. Except that this same kind of a story might happen on another hospitable planet, and you could get the same story in different versions all over and over and over again. But that's beyond our own life cycle, and we really can't know how things will go in the future in 1,000 years or 1 million years, because human life is so goddamn short. It's like a second in the all human, I mean, whole the planet history, less than a second, but anyway. Yes, Timmy Fisher, it's very true that philosophers are the products of their own era, and they're always tied one way or another to governments also. I mean, you either choose to be a poor man with your own weird philosophies and arts, or then you actually get something to eat and you probably have to make compromises, much like the free guy here. Yes, Jakub Chukovsky Azazel interview has been agreed to do at Steelfest. And I'll give you that Tuntematon Sotilas, the Unknown Soldier title here. This 2017 is the third version of the movie. It has been filmed a couple of times earlier. So there are other versions as well. I will link them. The first one was 55. The second one was 85. And the third one was 2017. Yes, Philip, looked good for you. It's good that you're above the government and establishment, and you have all the time in the world in to watch Rauta and listen to these sorry ass talks. Kram, I have never heard of that custom, so I don't know. Well, do I agree about that? That 2017 version is the best, but I haven't seen that 1985 version since I was a kid, so can't really take that out. Anyway, Bremons, I am actually leaving the stream now. It's been 3 hours instead of 1 or 2. Uh, so there's that. Well, Dimi, you take a look at the email address on Rauta's YouTube website and you will find the information there. Thank you, Jakub. SK, I have never actually heard anybody drinking about reindeer piss, but I don't know if it's some Sami people habit or whatever. Anyway, thanks for the stream, you guys. Especially thanks to SK for the donation and all that stuff. Talk to you next month with another stream, and at least stay tuned for those interviews coming from Inferno Festival and Steelfest Festival. And of course, take a look at some of the reviews. Maybe you will find something interesting in those albums that I will be reviewing. And if not, you can always say that at least Cherry knows jack shit about anything. That's always true. I don't know anything about it at all. Anyway, thank you, Waldo, and thank you, everybody. Good night, and take care. I will be going to my PlayStation 5 to play a bit, and I will fire up the gaming stream as well. So feel free to check out my Twitch stream for now and future if you want to talk while I game. And if not, I totally understand. Not everybody likes gaming. But this is all about tonight. Take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.